Uranus and Gemini will always come through with new technology for communications that we haven't seen before. In 1947, when Uranus was moving through Gemini, we saw the Roswell incident. Donald Trump hints at disclosures about UFOs this July 4th speech. A lot of UFO research scientists are missing or unaliving lately, so that's also very alarming. Uranus, Promethean fire, in the sign of Gemini, which represents the mind. You remember when you were little, really little, and you wanted to be something when you grew up, and you had a sense that anything was possible, that you could grow up to be an astronaut, a fireman, a princess, or a world leader? I don't know what your ambitions were, but there's a beautiful sky coming up for us as Uranus enters into Gemini. And not only does he ingress into the sign of Gemini for the first time in 84 years, but he's also going to activate the asteroid Apollo, which is a sun god. And it's the archetype of this little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. And I want you to know there's one part of your life where there's a light that can shine in the world from your unique signature of who you really are. Underneath all of it, we're all divine sparks. And Uranus is that Promethean fire. It's the spark of our creative and divine intelligence. It's a part of us that can be a creator. And so in today's video, we're talking about how Uranus in Gemini for the first time in 84 years, minus a tiptoe in last summer, which we'll talk about, is giving you, me, and everyone a clue about where that divine spark and little light of ours can shine in the world. Apollo is where we can lead, where we can shine our light. It is an important asteroid. We'll be talking about the asteroid itself. We'll be talking about timelines. And we'll be talking very briefly about generations, because some of us have Uranus when we were born years ago. Born in the 1930s, Uranus was in Aries. And so we're going to talk about how it might look as well for your generation to experience Uranus and Gemini. You'll have a different relationship to this than any other generation. So we'll look at that as well today. Now, welcome to my channel for this exciting video about your light shining in the world and about how we can use this ingress to give us clues as to what the next 7 years is about. I know you mean, what do you mean the next 7 years? Why the next 7 years? Because it will be in 2033 that Uranus exits the sign of Gemini. And of course, it's actually 6 years, but it started last summer. And technically speaking, whatever planets are connected to Uranus at the time of it ingress is the birthday chart of Uranus entering this sign. And so we can make some assumptions because he's sitting with benefic Venus in the sign of Gemini. And we can make some assumptions because he's in a very beautiful connection to the asteroid Apollo on his ingress, that this is going to carry forward themes of leadership and shining our light and bringing something to the table as divine sparks in the next 7 years, individually and collectively. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome, welcome. This is Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology. It is not sidereal. And if you want to come to my free webinar, my name is Lori Lothian. I hope I said that. I am teaching a long, deeper dive how to use this for your rising sign, sun and moon, mostly your rising sign webinar coming up on the 25th. This ingress of Uranus into Gemini in my time zone is late in the day, like 5:30 p.m. Vancouver, Canada or so on the 25th. Different time zones, it could occur on the 26th, depends on where you live. Like in Europe, it's going to be in the wee hours while you're sleeping on the nighttime of the 26th, after midnight. So I'm excited by this, but I want you to know something. I have a video I put out 2 weeks ago that covers different parts of the story for you. This is not a repeat content. This is another angle on the sky. But that video came out a while back and it's got like maybe 75,000 views. It's doing well. And I really went deep into some of the content for the world a little bit, but also for you in another perspective on this. Please go watch that video and consider this an addition to the primary video in the description box below. And maybe pinned to the comments. I will remember, I hope, and get my assistant to put in that other video, or go and watch my ding, the earlier video, and it'll hopefully be in the end cards too. Sometimes I go ding, and I hope that my Stella, the video editor, helps me out here and can see that, you know, we want to highlight the video that came out 2.5 weeks ago. All right. So first off, guys, I am so jazzed that Venus is with Uranus. Why? I'm going to show you the picture in a minute, but she's what we call the lesser benefic. And when he enters into the sign of Gemini, On the 25th, she's already there hanging out. She's sitting there at 2 degrees of Gemini. He's coming in at 0 degrees of Gemini. Well, he doesn't catch her and make a conjunction. That will happen next spring. It means that she heralds his arrival. She is before his arrival, heralding him coming in to the kingdom of Gemini, ruled by Mercury in the sign of Aries. Mercury's in Aries right now, and he can witness it sort of. His Gemini kingdom, he's a little bit behind there. But the real important thing I want to bring up, well, he does witness it, it's a sextile. But what I want to bring up is that more importantly, Venus is blessing the ingress. So it's kind of like saying, I don't know, the goddess of peace, beauty, art, kindness, harmony, love, pleasure, money is sitting in Gemini, a sign of commerce, by the way, as Mercury enters into this part of the sky. So that feels like a positive foreboding energy, like not foreboding, a positive omen, a positive sign of something good trying to happen. Now, a lot of you know that Gemini and Uranus will definitely pick up our AI time. This is going to be artificial intelligence energy. And I've talked about that in the earlier video. And that Uranus and Gemini will always come through with new technology for communications that we haven't seen before and for computing. So there was the first automatic Turing complete computer the last time he was in Gemini in the 1940s. There was the creation of transistor radios. This went through till 1949. I can't remember exactly, maybe 1938 to 1949. Uranus went through the sign of Gemini. But transistors, remember transistor radios, portable radios, new technologies around communication, the beginning of the taking off of the TV broadcast industry. And also there was an X-ray technology was developed then and further to another level of sophistication. So we certainly know that we're going to get a lot of tech, right? And that's going to happen over the next 7 years. New technologies. We'll have kids born under this thing who are going to grow up with an entirely new thing, right? Like we thought it was a big deal when, we had cell phones, right? Like this, like, oh my God, it's a portable phone. And I was alive before this existed. Well, this is going to bring massive technological breakthroughs, as well as really big developments in the world of artificial intelligence, as well as in 1947, when Uranus was moving through Gemini, we saw the Roswell incident. It was a UFO was downed in Roswell, New Mexico. It was a hush up cover up. But the point I'm going to bring up to you, Donald Trump hints at disclosures about UFOs this July 4th speech. Then Spielberg is coming up with his movie called Full Disclosure. There's a possibility that we'll see that summer's ingress, especially July. We have a miniature trine to Pluto, which is symbolic of the other, the completely other, the alien other, based on history. And also Neptune, oh my God, maybe interdimensional knowledge of different beings or extraterrestrial. There's very much a likelihood Uranus will open up disclosures at a new level that we've never imagined possible coming through this summer. In the meantime, a lot of UFO research scientists are missing or unaliving lately. So that's also very alarming. So you can track that story separate from here today. We're going to also bring up today, I'm going to show you the chart, the idea, as I said, that the ingress tells us something about the way things will go. And Venus is greeting or heralding the arrival, of Uranus. The moon will be at 1 degree of Virgo with the South Node. And that's going to show us where Uranus is going to disrupt things in our life, individually and collectively, to do with Virgo themes. And we'll go into that in a minute. So Virgo themes can be like things to do with the earth, with purity. In terms of earth, it's to do with purification of the earth or lack of purification of the earth. And we're also looking at things to do with health. And that would be health technology breakthroughs, of some sort that Uranus in a square to this lunation will be able to bring forth. And the moon will be a first quarter moon, which has its own kind of crusader mission energy as well, like to really push through and get something done. So we'll see major changes in health technology and health science in the next 7 years, just because of the Virgo moon square. Now to Uranus's ingress. Now, I want to let you know a few things before we get going, and I'll show you the sky. And if I talk fast, slow me down. If you like and subscribe, my channel grows. And if you don't like or subscribe, my channel doesn't grow. If you like this kind of content and you want to support my channel, I would appreciate you liking, subscribing, hyping, or sharing with friends and family, commenting, all of the above. Also, I'm a complete jewelry fan because I have Venus and Taurus, and because Venus is ingressed into the sign of Gemini to greet Uranus on the doorstep, I want to share these beautiful earrings that I can't believe how gorgeous they are by one of you guys watching my channel. And Sanda sent it to me. Moonglow is her brand. She's a little Etsy or Shopify store. She sent me about 5 different things, and she's so generous, and she didn't ask me to share anything. And I said, what the heck, I'm going to. These really hit the mark for who I am. I always wear danglies, and they're just gorgeous, one-of-a-kind jewelry. And so check her out. There's a description box below. And you know, I'm a total fan of Otterspirit jewelry. And they gave me a chance to make my own little trio. All their jewelry comes in a beautiful felt pouch and a wonderful little box for gifting or keeping it safe. And I kind of felt to myself, I'm going to share this in more than one video because I'm loving this. It's tiger's eye, pyrite, and aquatic agate. But what I love is how this, I didn't know what it meant. I just picked the colors and then intuitively, and here's what I got. Pyrite, success flows effortlessly. Could I not go that? And zodiacally intelligent jewelry, guys. And it also is the intention of prosperity. I hope you can see that. And it's really good as well for Aries, Scorpio, Leo, and Sag. And it's about our solar plexus. And then this aquatic agate, which looks like a really beautiful, deep green. I didn't know what it meant. I was picking colors intuitively to make a mini bracelet. I connect with my inner peace. Tell me about it. Do I need that these days? For the throat chakra, where I'm always talking to you and getting trolled because I say things about politics you don't like. For example, I just mentioned that Iran's sun was in Aries, and so was Mars, and Mars will favor anyone who has a sun in Aries. So people got mad that I said Iran's going to do better in the war than we think. So people unsubscribed. You can't win around here. So the intention is balance and healing, and it's good for Pisces, Gemini, Cancer, Aquarius. And the last one I picked was Tiger Eye. And it's just because I love Tiger Eye. It's such a grounding looking stone. I am a warrior. Well, I'm an Aries sun and moon. And it's good for strength, protection, solar plexus, root chakra. Now, I'm not going to open up their website. It's beautifully done. It's beautifully rendered. I want to get to work here with you. But if you're all interested, I have a discount code for all of my subscribers. I think if you look below, you'll see the code, and you get money off when you purchase jewelry from Otterspirit, who also helps with otters in the wild, and it has to do with helping nature, etc. So they're on a mission. It's not just about jewelry. There's also a very nice cause to do with helping sea otters. Okay. I think it has to do with Monterey Bay and sea otters. All righty, guys, let's go ahead. That was my small pitch for something I love. No, I'm not making a lot of money. This is not like a big affiliate thing. It is a little bit, but it's enough to buy me a bag of potato chips sometimes. What I want you to think about now, because I'm going to show you the chart, is I want you to go back to that question I asked you. When you were very young, at some point, before life got you down, before the job failures happened, before the divorces took you underneath the sea and almost drowned you, before people you love passed away, before life felt like a grind, the solar spark, the sun god Apollo energy is very similar to the Jesus Christ archetype, okay, in the ancient world. So there's a very luminous, a very magical, very powerful energy to Apollo. And he's sitting here at 2 degrees of Leo. He is where we are going to shine our light in the world, and we can be like a sun god. He is the brother of Artemis, Diana. He is the god of healing and medicine. He is the god of things to do with leadership. And he is also connected quite often to prophecy as well. He has a big portfolio in the ancient world. What did Jesus do? He was healing the sick. What did Jesus do? He was prophesying what was going to happen next. So the sun god Apollo is in Leo. And by the way, Donald Trump was born with Apollo on the backside of his ascendant, conjunct his ascendant, or I think it's on the backside, but it's with his ascendant. All said and done, yes, he's a leader and, a sun god. You can't make this stuff up. Can we all say this together? You can't make this shit up. That when he posted the picture that everyone assumed was Jesus laying on hands of healing with light coming out of the hand and angels and other things hovering behind him as a AI meme. And he said, no, I thought it was a doctor. Well, he has the sun god Apollo on his character in the simulation, his Leo 29 degree ascendant. So that he posted with unwittingly, it seems, a sun god archetype. Apollo, Jesus are very similar. is of no surprise. Sometimes people just think of Apollo as representing where we lead. It's where we lead from the luminosity of the spiritual light within us. Therefore, everyone can sing that old Bible song, "This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine." Do you know that one? I don't care. Maybe you don't. That's fine. I grew up pretty agnostic in my family, but I did go to Bible study once, and it's kind of a sweet little song. "This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine," and on and on. Well, and I can't sing, but thank you for listening. Where are you willing to reclaim the inner light and let it shine? The one that you were born to express, that when you were a little kid, you knew you had a spark within you. In my morning session with a client today who is 72 years old, her question to me was, what is my light that I'm supposed to shine in this world? What is the spark that I was born to do? She felt like she'd missed the mark as a housewife, as a mother, etc. Guess what? Her chart lit up like a Christmas tree with the zodiacal releasing of her purpose and her fortunes in the next 15 years. She wasn't late. She was perfectly on time. She's your quintessential late bloomer to have her success show up in the last 30 years of her life, or the last 25 years of her life. She's going to live a long time. So therefore, don't think because you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, you've missed the mark. We all have our own perfect timing in life. And this is going to be a next 7 years, or till 2033, where you might have some sense that there is a light that you're here to express, and it's your own unique signature, and no one else has got the same hue and the same vibration as your particular leader light, healing light, light that needs to shine in the world. And I want to mention one more thing. Because this light that you're going to shine is already in the sign of what? Leo. It represents the principle already of the heart. Leo is fire. Leo is courage. Leo is the core, the heart, the place of inner courage within each of us. It's not our mind and our brain and our thinking that matters when it comes to Leonine energy. It's that impulse from deep within ourselves, in our energy center, that we call the knowing heart. A good Leo is a good leader, because they're operating in their heart-centered awareness, not in their logical, linear, pro-con mental apparatus called your thinking mind. So I want you to think about your courage, your heart-centered light, the way you want to move forward between now and 2033. And I'm going to delineate your sign in a minute. I want to give you the idea that you've missed nothing, you've lost nothing. It's going to be your time to rediscover something about yourself. Finally, I keep saying finally, maybe next. You have a divine creator inside of you. There's this archetype of Uranus, who's an eccentric, tilted planet that doesn't operate like it's a maverick. He doesn't fit the bill of any other planet in our solar system. He's tilted eccentrically sideways. And so he's actually spinning on an axis that's different from any other planet in our solar system as they rotate around the sun. His time around the sun is 84 years. And there's a lot to be said here with Uranus about what that actually could indicate besides being outside the box or a maverick or unique or eccentric. Uranus also can represent that impulse of the Promethean part of reality. What is Prometheus? Prometheus is the divine spark of self-awareness. I don't think your dog and cat or mine or any other animal is sitting around pondering their navel and asking, who am I, what am I, and where did I come from? Nor are animal kingdom beings, although they have emotions, they can be sad. My dogs are sad sometimes when something bad happens, like they lose their other dog, that was in the household. They have emotions, but they're not thinking behind them and getting sad about the past. Oh my God, this sad thing happened to me 5 years ago and I still can't get over it. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Nor are they making up stories about the future that give them emotions of anxiety and fear. So this is like when Adam and Eve, and the apple happened, right? The tree of knowledge and of the tree of life stuff. Like there is something about what at some point Prometheus in the ancient story stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity. All right, stealing fire from the gods. And the gods were angry and they wanted to punish and did punish Prometheus. Don't worry, he was saved at the end of the day from his eternal punishment. But something about this kind of spark for humanity that was given to us. Promethean fire isn't a big lighter. The Promethean fire isn't a fire at the campsite. The Promethean fire of humanity that was gifted to us by Prometheus, who stole it from the gods, is self-awareness. And it is the same spark that gives us the power to imagine and to create. because it is God made humans in his imagination, not image, her image. And your imagination gets away with you, right? You imagine the worst and the worst happens. So our ability to also use our imaginal powers as divine creators, because we are sparks of the divine, is what Uranus does represent. And in air, in Gemini, he's moving quickly. It's lightning fast. It's thunderbolts of lightning. Where are you ready to wake up to your power of manifestation? Might be a dumber way of saying it, but the problem with that is that manifestation doesn't work from the thinking mind. It does. The operating principle is completely different from your thinking mind. That's why mantras don't work. I'm rich, wonderful, and everybody, and I'm a millionaire. And you say it all the time, nothing happens. Of course it doesn't, because it's just a thought. You have to actually have a belief in that thought. And so you have to really fully imagine and embody that thought in ways that are beyond just a thought, a wish. So I'm going to tell you something simple. You are here in the next 6 years plus, till 2033, to be able to harness your godlike creative spark, Uranus, Promethean fire, in the sign of Gemini, which represents the mind, and be able to apply that liberally in a beautiful way, a flowing sextile to your own spark of leadership, healing, and light that you're going to shine in this world. That's it in a nutshell. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense to you. That's today's video. I did cover a very extensive and longer coverage on other factors that I'm not going to do again today. Before we go ahead and rotate the wheel for your sign, if you want to join me on my Divine Timing Masterclass in May, 5 weeks live with me on Saturdays, you can pick one weekend course or all 5 precision timing tools for advanced beginners and intermediate students. Check my description box below. No matter when you're listening to this video, even if it's mid-May, you still might be able to get in for one of the weekend spots in the last 2 or 3 weeks of the month. And so I hope to see some of you in class. Description box below is where you find everything, including where to find this jewelry. So a description box is important. You hit ... more and you scroll down. We're listing today for whole sign house system, how to cast your chart in whole sign houses. Look in the description box below. I have a free video tutorial, and you can use that to see how your chart looks in the ancient tradition of whole sign houses. Don't use Placidus for any online YouTube astrologer. We're all talking whole sign in order to give you the gist of what's happening. All right. I want to show you something, okay? Because we're going to go to your sign, and I want to show you exactly 2 separate things, okay? First thing I want to show you is I'm not going to do this with you because I think you're going to be bored and wish I hadn't done it, but I'm going to show you what goes on in my Substack that you might be interested in if you want to understand more deeply your generation that you were born for, like your Uranian generation is what I'm trying to say. Every generation has a different experience depending on where Uranus was when you were born, of what it feels like to have Uranus for the next few years in the sign of Gemini. If I use me as an example, I had Uranus in the sign of late Leo when I was born. I'm a part of the late Leo Uranus generation. So let me pull this up for you because I'm going to get my Substack open. I thought I had it open. And I'm going to show you the article, and I'm going to give you a tip. Go read it because it's free. And in that free article that I wrote and posted just the other day, you are able to subscribe to my Substack. It's free. It's a weekly newsletter. Get this kind of content from me. And what I like about this kind of content is that it is going to be like a guidebook for you. So let me bring you over to this Substack to show you what I mean by the generations of Uranus article I wrote. I'm not going to read it to you. That would be absolutely god awful, boring, and etc. I can always tell when people on YouTube are reading scripts completely, and it really turns me off because I find it like, just talk to me, folks, you know? There's George Jetson. Okay, now you see the Pluto Chronicles. Link in my description box always to how to subscribe there, because I have about 8,500 subscribers and I have a lot of fun. Now, this is a free article, and if you want to subscribe, you'll be able to read it. So at the bottom of this article is a guidebook for everybody's rising sign, okay? And so I'm not going to read all of this, but I will mention that Uranus was in Gemini last summer from July the 7th to November 7th, and by early September 6th, he had retrograded. So I want you to think about July 7th to September 6th, when he got to a degree and a half of Gemini. Some of the cliff notes or Cole's notes or the broad themes of your next few years until 2033 were put in place like Cole's notes or outlines or scripts for what's going to happen. So you get a bit of a sense in the rear view mirror. here I'm just outlining the different generations that we've had. But what I wanted to point at, so don't worry about this, is this part of the article. Rather than me reading this to you, which is excruciating for you and me, go to my Substack and get this. I'm talking about what your generation was and what it will mean for you between now and 2033 at a generational level. Okay, so for example, anybody born with Uranus and Virgo, you're born, it was November 1st of 1961 to January 10th of 62, you had Uranus and Virgo, right? So you can see what I'm breaking it down for you. And then I explain what it feels like to be you for the next few years until 2033 as you live through this story. So if that's a nice place of getting this guidance, so please go get it, go read it, hopefully, but first finish this video, okay? So, if you want to go over to my daughter's generation, where is she? I love my daughters. People, I love her generation. My daughter was born with Uranus and Aquarius. She's 26 right now. I love that generation, by the way. She was born in 1999. So this is Gen Z, and I talk about how they're getting a big airflow from Uranus to Gemini and what it could mean for them. Exhilarating, but also, fear is the excitement without the breath. And I give them some tips here. So hopefully that's useful to you, that you're going to want to go ahead and you want to check that out and get a vibe. All right, get a vibe for your sign. I'm not going to show you the thing I thought I was going to show you. It's just a bunch of words that fit Apollo, the sun god. But I gave you the script already just from my own words. So let's go ahead. Let's do all signs, liking and subscribing. Thank you. And we'll start off over here with I'd say we'll start with Aries. So Aries, this is for sun, moon, and rising. Aries sun is your essential nature and your career and matters, and your rising sign is your character simulation avatar, and your moon sign is how you think and feel about life, your emotions and emo, but also your home and nest. I have an Aries moon and I have an Aries sun. That's why I'm feisty. Let's start off with the idea that we have Uranus moving into the sign of Gemini for the first time since 84 years ago. And as he does this, other than giving us a early test run last July 7th to November 7th for a small foreshadow of this experience, his full-on final ingress is here with Venus heralding his entry into your third house. It's going to indicate third house matters will be predominant, exciting, eccentric, and have massive, unpredictable change. This is going to, I hope, primarily be positive, for Venus is here to greet him on the entry, and transformative in that trine to Pluto. Ultimately, because this is going to open up the sun god within you in your fifth house. And I did not cover that in the original video that came out. Please go watch that here. I covered other elements that are doubly important or as important. But today we're saying, where is that little light of yours that you want to shine? And how does it relate to the third house of the chart? And what does Mercury say about it in terms of governing the story? Your identity, or your career, or your emotional state and home, Mercury in Aries is looking over from your sun, moon, and rising space of Aries at Uranus in the house of writing and communicating and teaching and traveling and ideas and divining and fortune telling and scrying. And this is an area where you can break free, break through, and have extraordinary liftoff. If you've always wanted to write a book, if you've always wanted to take up some kind of practice, if you always wanted to develop where you're teaching people something, or you want to be learning a lot during the next few years. Funny enough, I'm enrolled in a diploma course now for Vedic astrology. Can't wait to get started in June. I think you're going to find this is an extremely productive few years until 2033, where your learning curve is going to be accelerating. But at the same time, it's a social media landscape, and Uranus tends to mean going viral. In real life charts of clients, when something goes on here with Uranus in the chart in any way, there's something that can really suddenly take off. Venus wants to bring anything that she can to the table that is good and goodness. And because she rules the house of audience and marketplace, your seventh house, or long-term committed love, there may be elements of this next 6 years, where having Venus and Uranus together in your third house is going to bring you viral success or major success because you're being unique, original, and inventive, eccentric when it comes to what you wish to communicate and the ideas you wish to present to your audience, marketplace, and the world. But also, you have a divine spark of a sun god archetype in your fifth house. And this flow between Uranus, Venus, and Apollo, tell me, this is also going to embed over the course of the entire 6 years until 2033, something to do with the spark of creativity. If you have a muse that you need to hear, if you have an inner performer, artist, singer, musician, if you have some part of you that knows that it can like hook up to a divine inspiration, this is your time. If you've always thought as a little kid that you had a special talent or gift that you were born to express, which is the fifth house, this is going to open you up to those expressions. And this is the house of merit, karmic merit from other lives. And now you can lead with that light of your karmic merit. Something here is going to bring you into a sense of more financial success as a result of being tuned in to your dharma and your purpose and your mission in life. That's what the sun is also expressing here. There's a clue. It's Joseph Campbell. Follow your bliss. The degree to which you are unplugged from your joy and enjoyment and satisfaction in what it is you create and what it is you want to be, give birth to, right? Because the fifth house is birth. But give birth to a book, a musical thing, a movie you want to film or make or whatever, or an entrepreneurial business you wish to start, which is also something you can birth here in the next few years. You would want to be completely enthusiastically lit up by the actual process of creation. And that light of yours, the Apollo leader, will shine very brightly in this regard. Because we have Mercury in house 1 and Apollo in house 5, we call those Dharma houses. It's about your significance, your purpose, and your meaning in life. And those are on fire. And that's going to be a broad brushstroke of truth for you over the course of the next 6 years. Yes, you're going to make some changes according to the moon, to your health protocols, to your health routines, to the way you take care of your body. But it will happen like a flying spark of light shining brightly. It'll just fire off like that. Uranus said the bending of the nodes of fate tells us that it will be the end of karmic patterns that have held you back, connected to health and health routines, including addictions and addictive substances. Not too shabby, guys. One more thing to say before we move on. You write in the third house because you use your arms and your hands. You could write a grocery list. You could write a novel. You could write a musical score. Okay. You write. If I was going to give you a prescription, even if you're not artistically creative in a writing way, write anyway. Write your dreams and visions down. Take notes of your inspirations, maybe on the day of the ingress, which is Sunday. Well, it's actually on Saturday in my time, so April the 25th, late in the day Pacific time, or into Sunday. Why don't you do some writing of some kind? Maybe visualize Neptune. Neptune is sextiling your imagination god, is sextiling your spark of divine creatorship in the third house, and your little light that wants to shine like a sun god in the fifth. What can you do with this? You can write out your vision, goals, and dreams, then put it in an envelope and put on the envelope, do not read until 2033. Don't overthink it. It's a prescription for putting some of your visionary imaginal realm, creating the idea of what you want to be and who you want to be, and especially your identity, because Aries is the I am. Your identity is going to change in the next 6 years. You're going to be excited to see this new version of you who's inspired, enthusiastic, enjoying life, creative, has ideas, is breaking the mold, is originating and inventing, and also bringing some kind of spark of creatorship to the world. I love it for entrepreneurs. I love it for artists. I love it for any of you. You could get some romantic love out of this. Yes. That would be love close to home in your neighborhood, sure. And because where the Apollo sun god sits is a house of romantic love, single, if you're single, yes, of course, it could herald the onset of a new romance over the next 6 months, 6 years? And if a new romance comes into your life, what would the flavor of the romantic love be? It would be healing you around disappointments and committed long-term love relationships. And in fact, it may even lead to a very exciting and enthusiastic wedding. Bing, bells are ringing for you in the next 6 years. If you're not married already, if you're already married, you and your partner could have a lot more fun, a lot more shining of the light in the romance, affection, and sexuality energy, and a lot more travel between the two of you. You are Taurus. You are ruled by Venus. You have a Taurus sun, career, moon, home and nest, and rising sign identity. Sitting in your house when this ingress happens is the sun shining on you. So you're very much in your time of year where you're lighting up a bit more than you usually do and paying attention to what your dreams and goals may be. But that aside, we see that the money stories is what Venus is operating with as she heralds or welcomes in, like says, come on in, let's hang out together. Let's do something together here. Because it's basically she got there just a bit before him. And you could say something along the lines of, as she greets him in his entry, you could say something along the lines of, you want to make money in ways that are enjoyable and pleasing, but you want to do that also in a way that feels creative, artistic. You want a livelihood that brings you a job that you enjoy. You're not going to just chase the paper. You might want to find your way through something that can connect you to being more original, inventive, and, kind of finding a unique signature for making money. But when Venus is in the second house, she does bring money, but she also brings the pleasure and enjoyment of what you can purchase with that money and how you actually voice the creation of that money. Your voice, the way you speak, is here. You might become very adept at speaking in original, inventive, earth-shattering ways to the world, air-shattering ways. But deeper under the word voice is vocation and calling. And some of you are going to radically transform your career, your calling, especially with the trine to Pluto, in ways that bring you in profound changes of direction. If this is not a job change, this is a wholesale professional direction change from one area to something very different in you. This is baking in this theme that could be true for the next 6 years, not just in the immediate term. Because Apollo is shining brightly in the fourth house as this little light of mine, it's possible that the way you make money may begin to move or migrate to home-based business energy, or that where you live is going to support you because you live in a place that allows for your success and satisfaction in work and career to occur. If you live next to a hospital and the sirens are blaring daily as ambulances leave, it might be feeling like that's not my zone to thrive. I do want to say, though, there's something much more important, is that Apollo, your divine spark of healing and creativity and art and expression of a divine solar god archetype, is in the house of your family of origin and your ancestral line. Given that we have a square from the sun, most likely I want you to look to your father's line. I want you to look to what was going on up your father's lineage, up that side of the family. You're going to try to extract a little bit of a goodness from that, bring something up from the deep well of your ancestral family of origin, paternal line, that you can express in the next 6 years in order to create earnings and money. But Apollo squaring the sun in your first house is an examination of that lineage and where things may have fallen apart. It doesn't just mean your dad, your granddad, your great-granddad. Just trying to track up there. What were they all doing? Were some of them what were they all about? Who were they? What was some of the things that they were up to? And in essence, this Apollo energy opposing Pluto is to dig under the surface of your family line for what it is you're here to do by going underneath the ground of your family system, your dad, your ancestors, and I think it's his side of the family here. Then you're going to be able to sort of dredge up your own unique contribution to the furthering of that lineage in a way that brings you pleasure, enjoyment, and financial success and the expression of livelihood, work, and job. And if you are somebody who needs to make some kind of hard push to make some changes, first quarter moon in your fifth house, all right, squared by Uranus, Venus, You're going to make major changes in how you approach creativity, play, pleasure, enthusiasm, fun. This can definitely be very good with Venus's placement for a breakthrough in curtailing the foods or addictions that you have in terms of what you ingest into your nose and mouth. Just keep that in mind. For goodness sakes, there can be some real deep letting go and surrender of those things. I mean, Mercury is watching this story happen from the house of addictions. It's happening in his house of what you put in your mouth. And to let go and release something, surrender it from the fifth house of one's pleasures and enjoyments in life. Because some enjoyments and pleasures aren't good for us, right? There's a deeper satisfaction than a simple pleasure when we can find a deeper sense of joy and creativity in reality. And that's what this was trying to open up for you in the next 6 years. Seriously wonder if there's an artist in you under this kind of sky. Like, I mean, a real artist, a writer, a performer, a musician, a painter, a potter. There's something about where are you not maybe until now able to see that potential of that part of you, and ask yourself, were there any artistic people up your father's line? That includes his mother, your father's mother. It's just his side of the family that comes from the father's side. Okay. Especially with the moon square, the south node, and the sun, that could definitely be broad square. It's a trine here, but the moon is actually a first quarter moon. I'm wondering if there's something you could be opening up to here, like really opening up to, that you didn't know was underneath the family line. Like, is there like, can you go look into the basement? Like, I'm not kidding you, for like old pictures of your family, or where are you stored that stuff? Look for synchronicities coming off of this. Mercury rules synchronicity, and he's the lord of this ingress. Look for signs and synchronicities that lead you to discover and uncover your unique signature and talent that you're dredging up from your family line, that you were born to express, that you've always had, but this has never really been available to you until now. Even your little child self might not have been able to say, when I grow up, I want to be a writer, performer, singer, dancer, musician. But if you can get in touch with what this is, then between now and 2033, you can not only make a living at it, but you can be quite wealthy. Venus is trining Pluto in a wealth trine for the trillionaire yoga, So, follow your passion in terms of ancestral line talents that you've got from the family of origin, and let it fly. This is so important for you. Very deep, deep soul work going on here. And by the way, ask yourself about addictions. Yes, there's a temporary satisfaction, numbing out, or escapism. But what if instead of that, you were saying, well, I'm going to be addicted to finishing my book. I'm going to be addicted to my poetry. I'm going to be addicted to my art, whatever you're up to, my music. Keep it going, guys. Let's see how it happens for you. I'm excited to hear back. Even if this resonates for you, whether or not, I don't think anyone's checking back 6 years with me from now, but I want you to tune into the energy of what I'm expressing. And I'd love to hear from you, Taurus, in the comments. I really would. I have Taurus friends, and my daughter's a Taurus son. I have a ton of Taurus people in my life. How is it resonating for you? Don't forget, like and subscribe, please. Thank you. All right. So if you're like a Gemini, sun or moon or rising? Sun, of course, is your career and your true self and purpose. Moon is your emotions and feelings and thoughts, but also represents matters of home and nest. And the sun ascendant is always your identity in the simulation, your character you're here to play. So, and my son's progressed to Gemini. Is at 17 Gemini now for the last 17 years. So I resonate with Gemini energy just temporarily. Your natal placements are not as important as your progressed planets. And I would say that, first of all, you are, of course, I could have started with you. I think I did start with you on the longer video. Please go watch the longer video that's already out. That goes into other elements of the sky. It's not replicating the content. It's in the description box. Please listen to both. Epic. First time in 84 years, really. Permanent ingress, Uranus until 2033 in your first house. What are you going to do with this story? Well, first of all, you're going to be looking for freedom. You want to break up the shackles of what holds you back. You don't care. You are not sitting down for enslavement. You are like, get me out of these shackles. I'm going to break free, break through. you don't even need to break down because Venus is protecting you. So there's a lot of breaking free energy going on for you. You like could be a maverick, a rabble rouser, or, a rebel. You'll do things differently. If you never thought you'd have a tattoo, you have a dozen. If you never thought a nose ring was cool, you have one. If you thought pink hair was weird, now you're purple. Your freak flag wants to fly, especially for the Gemini rising. But in the sun, you'll express those energies in career, and the moon in your private and home life. If you are somebody who in this sky has a desire to be a creative, artistic being, it's important to say yes, because Venus with Uranus, she rules your house of the arts and the entrepreneurial instinct as well, your fifth house. I want you to consider that this little light of yours that wants to shine, this divine spark of you in the next few years, is going to want to express creatively, artistically, and entrepreneurially. End of story. You want to give birth to new things that you are the creatrix and the creator of, because the Apollo, light god of sun and healing, which to me represents this little light of ours that we want to shine in the world, that we can leaderfully do so in a way that we're commanding the attention of others. Well, this is the house of writing. This is the third house of communicating. This can be where we are going to be learning things and studying things that are skills-based, or teaching those skills to others. You could become a leaderful teacher, a leaderful writer, a bright spark around your communications and ideas. In our modern world, this is our social media landscape. It used to just be media. Now it's social media. We also, in the third house, tend to divine and fortune tell and scry. It is a natural feature of the house of the goddess. And those things can also bring the spark and the light of you to shine in the world. If you've ever had the impulse to go off to write in a writer's retreat or community of writers, the sun would suggest that's possible, that you're going to start finding timeout corners for creative artistic expression, particularly writing. Venus is the ruler of Libra library book, your fifth house. Pluto in contractual Juno in the house of publishing. A lot of you are going to lean into more writing in your life, even if you're just publishing it on Substack. Secondly, I think that the feeling I have with the sun god in the third house is your ability to really command the attention of people using the online media landscape. This is our modern day media. In the old days, it was a newspaper, magazine, or maybe your TV station, cable TV. Now, of course, it's new frontier media, very many different ways that we show up in the online space. Let's face it, Facebook is dead. Instagram is dead. The only places left are X and YouTube, but there will be other forms of social media and media itself over the next 6 years. There will be, because of technology changing rapidly. And your place is there. If you want to go there, say yes. If you've never gone there, say yes. This digital media too, but online marketing and selling. You don't have to work at Starbucks. Speaking of which, I have a Starbucks coffee. You could set up your entrepreneurial online business, Geminis, and you could kick ass in the next 6 years. Your entrepreneurial instincts, your creative instincts, your online business instincts are extraordinary. The sun says you will make money from long distance shores and foreign lands without borders. You can make money on the internet. This is one of the things that's so good for Geminis now. You don't have to do it overnight, right? You got 6 years to figure it out. Moon. Okay, so basically, in essence, there's a square from Uranus and Venus to the moon, south node, on the day of the ingress, which is going to be, by the way, the 25th in my time zone. And it will indicate that there is a turning point and a pivot point of significant power. Uranus is at the bending of the north node in your 10th house. You're going to change your career based on family of origin and ancestral line stories, and also matters connected to your childhood. What did you give up, let go of, fall away from, that when you were a little girl or boy, you thought, this is your calling? And especially with the moon here, which can be mother, maybe mother's line, mother's side of the family, or mother's encouragement. But there is something about a change of livelihood, not a change of job. This is big for you. It's huge energy. And so you're not just making a small migration to a different division of your company. Over the next 6 years, you're recreating your worldly success from the deep roots of your family of origin, your mother's line in particular, maybe even your own childhood and what you thought you would do when you grew up and you never did. And now you want to sort of figure it all out. Now you're going to bring it into being. Mercury rules this whole story. Mercury is the announcer in the 11th house. You could lead groups of people, be a podcaster, be very well known. You could hit some celebrity status. You could be somebody who also wants to really shout like a message of like a movement maker. Mercury Mars is like you're on a mission, you're championing something, you got something to say, you want to influence the masses, and yet you have to go back to the basics of your childhood. There's something that got left behind, and now you're digging it up and reclaiming it. Virgo in the 4th house is a sign of the writer, right? So some of you, it is writing, but there's a lot of layers to this. You want this worldly success and it can bring you a great deal of riches and money, to also be eccentric, innovative, breaking free, keeping yourself original. I'll give you an example. Like, don't write a murder mystery. Write a murder mystery fused with another genre. You know what I mean? Like blend triple genre bending. If you're writing, it's genre bending writing. So there's just all these kinds of vibes for you. But ultimately, Venus rules your house of the muse, the arts, the creativity, the giving birth to something, the entrepreneurial instinct. You carry a certain charm over the next 6 years. You're embedding in a Venusian affability. People like you. You're attractive. You're charming. People want to say yes to you. So take this charm offensive and really use it in the next few years. It will serve you because Venus exalts your career house with the North Node. So you just kind of come out on top, come out looking good. People want to support you. They like that you're eccentric and innovative, and they want to be a part of that world. You look good to them. You're attractive to others. Okay. So I know someone's going to ask me, what about love? Yeah, well, Venus makes you willing to be loved and loved by others. There's a song. So I want to be loved by you. Oh, is that Spiders and Snakes? I'm old, guys. This is a 70s song. I don't like spiders and snakes, and I don't know what it takes to love me. I want to be loved by you the way I want to be loved by you. You can command the way you want others to love you, whether it's your fans, your audience, or a significant other. You are in charge of how you are going to be loved. And this is an important variable for you. And that includes how you wish to be married, right? Because Venus exalts your weddings house. You have a lot of potency, power, and command about getting what you desire in relationship, love, weddings, and marriages. Okay. I like this one for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. You have a new story in your 12th house where Uranus hasn't been for 84 years, minus the dip in. Please go watch the intro, people, and go watch my longer video that already came out, appended to the comments / in the description box. Because there is something extraordinary about the 12th house if you can access this base in your chart. All right. Access is essential. What can you do with this? You can go so deep in your soul work that you are going to be free of the laws of the matrix, like Neo in the Matrix. But you must liberate yourself from the matrix, and you must wake up from the matrix. And if you're willing to go there, this can bring spiritual illumination and awakening, and it's going to reverberate through the rest of the chart in ways that you can only begin to imagine. One of the reverberations, says Mercury, will be to how you express your career. Another reverberation, says Apollo, is how you make money. If you don't want to go for the big awakening from the matrix, Apollo, the sun god, is this little light of yours will shine in a job capacity. What kind of work are you here to do? The energy of Apollo, the sun god, activated from the Uranus, Venus in the 12th, can definitely make money for you by working for a foreign company, moving to another country and working there, or making money in the online digital revenue space. And you could also make money from a sibling, one older than you. That's the sun up there. You're also going to make money in ways that can connect you to your family of origin, the 5th house. And so taking on a family business, taking over a family business, working in an industry that your family did, or working in a capacity connected to a relative from your childhood, right? Mom, dad, siblings. Finding your groove here, the sun god, the spark of what it is you're here to shine into this world, that's very Jesus-like. It also brings healing archetypes and stuff like that. Certainly with Apollo being a healer, some of you might want to move into a path professionally that is about medicine or healing. If you haven't gone there before, that could call you. But Mercury in the 10th house with Chiron can suggest also alternative healing, not just allopathic. So moving into alternative healing modalities in your professional direction, like being a chiropractor or a Reiki healer or an acupuncturist or anything like that, will be yes, you should do that. It will go very well between now and 2033. Venus, as the ruler of the house of childhood, is really asking you to look at, like with a lightning strike, some of your goals you had as a child. How did you picture yourself when you were little growing up to become a blank? That's funny. When I was a kid, I used to tell my mom I was going to grow up to be a model. And then I was so painfully shy and thought I was so incredibly ugly that what my little 5-year-old thought became nigh impossible, right? So you probably forgot how innocent you were as a child and what you thought you might be able to do and what kind of dream career you thought you might want. But because Venus with Uranus is like a lightning bolt of illumination in a house that is associated with dreams, when the ingress happens on Saturday, the 25th into Sunday, the 26th, pay attention to some dreams at night. You could have like a flash dream. You know what I mean? Like a big dream. The shamanic world calls it the big dreams, a guiding dream, an insight dream. So I want to give you 3 days. Okay. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 25th, 26th, 27th. Really look to your dreams at night to give you guidance or insights into what you're trying to dredge up from your childhood that's going to make you money and be a really powerful livelihood for you. And I'm not making this stuff up. Mercury, the Lord of the Ingress, is trining Apollo in a whole sign trine. You will be moving into a very powerful earnings and career time in the next 6 years. But it's also rooted in some of the things that are connected to childhood stories. Sometimes when we're kids, we play things, like we like to play nurse, we like to play doctor, whatever we like to play, in imaginations. Ask yourself what kind of little games you played, especially alone, that gave you a sense of satisfaction. Maybe you were out picturing your true role in life. The moon is in the 3rd house with the south node, and it's being squared by the ingress. And so there's something about the movement toward your releasing and surrendering of matters connected to siblings in particular. It could be the sibling one below you. So a sibling one younger than you, and a karmic release and surrender in your relationship to that sibling in particular. And because this is bending the nodes in a house that involves siblings, and this could be a sibling one younger or a sibling 2 older than you, those sibling relationships are having a sort of turning point energy, like a pivot here, that you over the next 6 years will have a very different relationship to that sibling one younger than you and 2 older. But more specifically, it is the sibling one younger than you. And there's a release and a surrender and a letting go. And yeah, I could also say that sibling one younger than you might be in a hospital setting. Yes, okay, sometime in the next 6 years, sure. But more importantly, what is your attachment to your relationship dynamic with that sibling? Are you a helper? Are you an enabler? Did you already lose that sibling? Sometimes this is Rahu is about the emotions of the past and loss with a sibling. We have a Cancer rising girlfriend whose brother died when she was in her teen years, you know what I mean? Or she was in her 20s, he was in his teen years. So having to fully recover from that is what this says. How can you let it go for good? Bury it up, bury that hatchet. Your whole long-range goals, dreams, and plans and satisfaction in career and purpose depend somewhat strangely on releasing loss and grief from sibling one younger or siblings in general, but also the dynamic between you and that sibling is, as much as anything, is actually surrendered as well. If your sibling bossed you around, it's going to stop. If you were bossing them around, it's going to stop. If they were depending on you all the time, it's going to stop. Sibling dynamics, release, surrender, let go, and change in shocking, surprising, fast moving ways, never to return again. Thanks for listening, Cancer. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Please go watch the longer video. Did any of that resonate for you? And if so, share with me how. I read my comments and I really love hearing what you guys have to say. I know this is a 6-year story, but does it even resonate as remotely possibly true is what I'm asking you. And like and subscribe, please, and share the notification. Share with other people. Hype if it really is something you're enjoying. And watch the longer video that's appended to the comments in the description box, because I'm not covering the whole story here, just in one exquisite part of it. Leo, sun, moon, and rising, this little light of yours is going to shine because you're a Leo and Apollo is in your sign. On the ingress of Venus and greeting Uranus for the first time in 84 years to a permanent stay until 2033 in your house of long range goals, wishes, and dreams, career gains, career success gains like fame, fortune, and all of that stuff. The house of a sibling one older as well, where Uranus and Venus are activated. Venus is a money goddess and a money house. The gains of your career connected to a sibling one older. The gains of your career connected to allies, benefactors, and helpers. The gains of your career connected to the actualization of goals, dreams, and wishes. Yes, that's the theme for the next 6 years or so, right? But also, what about the sun god? Now, that's your little light that wants to shine, Leo, and the big courage in your heart that's available to let that light spill out and to be the creator God that you are, Uranus, the Promethean fire. Listen to the intro. You know, there's 11th house is a wish fulfillment house. If you had a fairy godfather, mother there, then they're listening in. What do you want to create and accomplish in life? Can you tune in to what your true wishes are? You know, we lose touch with our true wishes because quite often they get buried under life circumstances and we forget what we really want. So there's an illumination of your truest wishes and wants and desires, and the shining of this healing light of Apollo. You could become Apollo-like. You could become a prophet. Apollo was a prophet and he was a healer. In what ways could you think that being a prophet and a healer is interesting to you, right? But on the other hand, because we also see that you are dealing with Mercury's command, Mercury's telling this Uranus what to do on the ingress, the command structure headquarters, Mercury, is all about dharma. Like you don't just want rich fame, glory. You want purpose, meaning, and significance to your life. And that's going to be a factor you're going to pay attention to in the next 6 years. Mercury can also give you opportunities connected to career gains through higher education, campuses, colleges, publishing, especially book publishing, and also opportunities to take on an advisory or second in command role. Hand of the king. You could thrive professionally by being the executive assistant, the vice president, the hand of the king, the CEO, second in command. That's an advisory role, a mentoring role, or a guiding role that you can accomplish a great deal of success and satisfaction in your career. Over the course of the next 6 years. And, you know, Venus is ruling that sun in your 10th house, and she wants to really have you align your career and your visible reputation with the things that you truly yearn for and desire. 11th house is a desire house. Can you tune into what your true desires are? Because I will say that 80% of us, by the time we're past our, mid 40s, I mean, we're going to be saying, I can't remember what I actually want anymore. This is just what life is like, The last thing I want to mention for you here is take a gander at the moon. The moon is in a broad square on the ingress. I'm going to move us back by a day so it looks more truly true. Hopefully I'll be able to keep it. Yeah. But now I've gone past that. So let me go back and put some minutes in here. I just want it to look more true to what's happening, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. Let's see if I can get us back to you. Okay. You're going to have to trust me. We're going back to the original plan. The moon is really like 2 degrees. Okay. It's really close to 2 degrees when this is happening. So the moon in your 2nd house with the south node is letting go and releasing and surrendering. something connected to the way you make money or earn money. So not only does this ingress tell us that something exciting in you is being born again into your long range goals, dreams, and plans, and the gains of the career and how you make money, it is commensurate with the need to release and surrender and let go of an alternative or other way in which income was coming to you, especially given the moon is in a trine to the sun. There's something that you had been doing financially, relying on money from a certain direction, career path, job path, something like that, it's going to fall away over the next 6 years. Not all at once, not in a day necessarily, but that old path is going to dissolve because something new, something better, something more exciting is coming in for you. And it's going to be like wish fulfillment, fairy godmother, your dreams and your long range goals and dreams are coming true in professional endeavors, money-making endeavors, but also purpose alignment endeavors. All right, that's what I got for you. I'm losing my voice. I don't want to lose my voice today. If you wanted to be a leader at any point in your life, especially a solar figure up here, because it squares the sun, you would be like the CEO, the commander-in-chief, or the politician at the top of the food chain. There's something about that you could be aiming in the next 6 years for a high level of corporate or political leadership. If any of you Leos are thinking in that direction, then the next 6 years to 2033 could definitely bring you into that field. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Where's that little light of yours that you want to shine? Go watch the intro. This childhood part of you that thought it could be an astronaut or an engineer or a nurse or a model or a doctor or an Indian chief, as we used to say when I was in the 60s. I know it's not politically correct. And you could end up with your dream come true from your very earnest childhood years in what it is you're here to express professionally, because you have a lightning strike of Uranian illumination and the divine God spark, the Promethean fire in the house of career. I don't care if you're 72 years old, like the lady I talked to today for her career. Goodness gracious, she's just starting out. You can have that career illumination, breakthrough, break free, and it would be something that will profit you because Venus rules the house of your earnings and your voice and your vocation and your calling. Therefore, this is the beginning of some alignment from a deep place within you of a true path of purpose and career. Because the light that you're shining of Apollo, the healer, the prophet, the sun god, the spark of something shining into the world and being seen by others, Apollo, in your 12th house, you're cultivating this from a few directions. Past lives and your leaderful ability and king-like ability in other lives. You're cultivating this new energy from things to do with your inner work, your soul work, your meditations, your reflections, and your solitude. And you're cultivating this from the part of the chart that also opens up doorways of not only past life abilities, but ancestral line superpowers. And so something about Apollo is very magical and very subtle. It's not out there, it's in there, it's inside of you, this light that wants to shine, but it requires some introspection, some solitude, the removal of addictions and substances of abuse. Apollo sextiles Venus. He's in the house of a self-undoing. You will be able to, in a flash of light, like a flash of light, eliminate that from your life once and for all. All right, whatever that a substance issue might be, if you have one. Energy-wise, this is a wedding house in the 10th house. This is exciting energy here. So this is like destination weddings, going off and getting married on a far-off, land and enjoying the excitement of a, faraway wedding. So some of you may indeed, if you're not yet wed, and I don't mean living together. I mean, this is weddings and wakes and ceremonial moments. Do a very innovative, original, and different kind of wedding. Venus exalts your marriage house in the next 6 years. So if you're single or you're dating or whatever, this can lead to a long-term marriage, but it also allows for that originality to shine. Uranus and Venus flow to Pluto, bringing you more wealth and power and excitement through your work life in the next 6 years. But because it's Uranus, it's connected to something completely different than anything you've done before. It's not going to look the same. In fact, the moon squaring Uranus, Venus is telling us the very same story. It doesn't look the same. Now I'm way too far into the future. So let me get to you again. Okay, I want to go back to the 26th. Give me a minute. I'm going to come back to you. So what are you letting go of? South Node. Moon. What does the moon rule? Long-range goals and dreams and plans. Ways of sustaining yourself by gaining money, success, and rewards from your career. What are you letting go of? Because the old ways aren't working anymore. Jupiter's protecting you, and your career gains and successes are guaranteed through to the end of June. But I want to tell you that you're baking in a turning point energy where whatever you thought your career path was is no longer going to be true. And you're surrendering and releasing some of the long range goals and plans you had, not just for your career, but for other areas of your life as well. And I do think with Jupiter in the house of the moon ruling the fourth house, you're deeply able to revise your long range life plans and goals and dreams without having to keep to the script of your childhood family of origin and what was expected of you or what you managed to make meaning of as a child. Like you could have made stories where you thought from the way your family operated that the way you have to be successful in your purpose and career or weddings and marriage vows had to look like the family of origin stories, right? I don't know what to say, but that's what I see. You always married poor guys or poor women, and you had to carry the financial load. And now you see what the Virgo can marry a sugar mama daddy and still be madly in love. Like scripts are unwinding from childhood regarding career, weddings, marriage, purpose, and the means by which you make money, and also surrendering and releasing addictions, particularly since a lot of those come out of your family line. They weren't yours to carry. You can see that with Apollo in the 12th flowing to the 4th. So it's time to release, surrender, and let go of those addictions too that weren't yours to hold, to just family patterns that carry through. Ultimately, the moon and the south node squaring this ingress is a radical, for a Virgo rising, a radical redefinition of self. Virgo sun of your career and purpose path and meaning in life, and Virgo moon, a radical redefinition of how you approach your emotional and mental habits and field, but also of your roots of where you live. So you could have a major life change in where you live that's very different than anywhere you've ever lived before over the next 6 years. So do let me know if any of that fits for you, if you can resonate with that. Mercury is ruling all of this from your 8th house, which is to say he wants to make you richer through spousal money, inheritances, and stuff like that. And yet he has to work with Venus, Uranus. He has to work with Apollo. And so I think that Mercury will probably try to translate this to unexpected surges of unearned income coming through your career, royalty income, Google AdSense money, accounts, shared resources, sign-on bonuses, severance package monies, big bonus check commissions. These are other ways that money can come to you. Or money coming to you through divorce settlement, just a few of you, that's true. But as Mercury's opening that up, he's also really leaning on the idea of your drawing solar sun god Apollo power from deep within the well of your spiritual life and who you really are. So yes, there's going to be some money changes, but I covered some of that more, I think, in the first video I put out. Go watch that first video that came out already, and it's in the comments. And don't forget, if anything resonates, Virgo, let me know. I'd like to hear how you're doing. Any of you struggling with the money, career, or addictions thing? Anyone here going through a divorce or in the middle of that? Separation? If yet you are, you're going to do a lot better than you thought financially coming out the other end of a marital separation. And that could be a story that's already unfolding, and it can continue to be a true story for the next 6 years or so. Now, let's talk about Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. And how's my charger? Good. You guys are like looking at this story of the ingress very favorably because Uranus, who will be here for the first time in 84 years, for like a good long stay till 2023, minus, watch my intro, a test run last summer. is opening you up here to an incredibly powerful flow, and it's called air trine energy, and it even trines Pluto. So ultimately it opens you up to a deep and profound transformation of meaning and purpose in life. And it could also bring you good fortune financially. And Libra, the energy of Venus in your ninth house greeting Uranus is break free, breakthrough energy in the fields of spirituality, religion, publishing, academic and academia, foreign land, and international themes. And this is where there's a huge surge of lightning energy, and Venus is supporting that to happen. Venus, as the Lord of your sign, as it is for Taurus, is extremely trying to support your Libra sun, your career, Moon, your home life and emotions and real estate, and Libra rising, your simulation avatar character. Like if you were a Libra moon, this is going to favor property and real estate matters and home matters, but it could get you moving to an international destination in the next 6 years and not living in the country of origin, for example. Whereas a Taurus sun, you might move into, a Libra sun, into fields that are connected to teaching, academia, law, legal court case matters, things like that, or fields of endeavor that are connected to, as a word I want, publishing. If you are looking to go back to university as a Libra sun in particular, this is going to take you into unusual directions of study, but it will fortify the meaning and purpose of life. The spark of this little light of yours that wants to shine as a leaderful sun god energy, and where everyone notices how great you are, is in the house of social groups of belonging and influence and friends. There's a movement maker, move the masses energy of the 11th house. It can bring a great deal of public recognition. This light that's shining up there is also the greater gains of your career, Academy Award season, fame, lots and lots of money. And you are shining, right? A sun god here. So you can look forward to some really beautiful career activations over the next 6 years, as well as allies, benefactors, and leaderful, powerful people in positions of authority helping you and giving you a hand, wanting to support you in any way possible. With Jupiter in the 10th house, honestly, some of you could become well-known teachers or politicians. And if you've ever had a hankering to go into politics, or you wanted to work as a teacher, educator, or spiritual guide or teacher, this is where you can really shine in the next 6 years. The sun god in the 11th house, it really is a deep impulse to dive under the surface into what you truly desire. And from that deep well of knowing the desires you have are sun god energy, Apollo energy, including the luminous inner child, including the archetype of the light you're here to shine. You can go very deep with this, and you can really keep asking yourself, are my desires in alignment with my purpose? That's your question. Are my desires in alignment with my deepest purpose for being on planet Earth? And that question will keep you on track for the next 6 years. Because people will step up to help you, but do you even want their help, or do you even want what they're offering? And again, Jupiter baking into the 10th house. Are you a politician? Are you a spiritual guru or a leader? Are you a famous teacher? What are you trying to open up here for the world and for yourself? Jupiter rules the house of writing, and Venus, Uranus are in the house of publishing. Some of you could become authors as well. I should have put Athena in here, because for some of you, probably useful. Yeah, offering books to your audience, marketplace, and the public. Now, some Libras with this story, Mercury in the house of your audience, marketplace, public, will notice that one of the pivots that's going on here as this new story begins to emerge in your ninth house is that you're really eager to share a lot of stuff with the world. This is what you have to give to the greater audience, marketplace, and public. You got a stellium there, but Mars and Mercury are to champion you're championing a cause or championing something you care about, especially in a whole sign trying to Apollo in the house of the movement makers. Right. Mercury can be contractual agreements and business deals that you're forming and making. And if you are a writer, some of your stuff will become a film or movie or Netflix shows and stuff like that. That's the Neptune piece. Ultimately, if you're not entrepreneurial, you'll become entrepreneurial, because this will guide you. This whole thing wants to push you into more self-sufficiency and not so much being necessarily tethered to a business or corporation that is somebody else's agenda. with the North Node in your 5th house and the South Node in your 12th, and Uranus, Venus bending those nodes, well, there's a pivot point, right? And a lot of it's going to increase your worldly success in the career work space. And yet at the same time, you're having to let go of something. The moon is asking you to let go of an old path, to surrender and release an old path of work and livelihood. It doesn't have to be surrendered all at once. It's soul work energy. Go under the surface, look into your family line a bit, look into past life energies, look into your ancestral line as well. You know what I mean? Like, okay, your great grandpa Joe was an entrepreneur and a business success, and now I have to do the same thing, but I don't want to do that kind of thing. Like, look under the hood of your family of origin, past life energies, to ask where am I operating on rote, autopilot, repeating and rinsing my family of origin. What the heck? It smells like someone's got perfume wafting into my house. I'm going to pause. I have to. It's like I can't take the smell. Okay, you know what it is? You know how people use fabric softener or stuff like in the dryer or whatever? And then we have the vents on the apartment building. I'm ready to move, guys. And I always get someone's dryer vent and it's just like Febreze and it's toxic. And it's like, it's in my apartment because the windows are open now because it's hot. So, okay. Yeah, let's not complain. Let's go back to you. So guys, I think I was almost finished anyway. Venus is a lord of your sign. Long story short, power, transformation, catharsis, regeneration, and renewal through creative, artistic sparks that you're going to succeed. And being an entrepreneur, hell yeah. And being aligned with your purpose and meaning in life, hell yeah. That's what we got. It still smells toxic in my house. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. First thing you might want to pay attention to as the ingress is happening, I want you to go back in time just to think about last summer, July, August, September, October, basically, because that was when you were test running this ingress in your 8th house. This is not your money. It's other people's money. Inheritances, spousal supports money, in-law money, shared resource money. It's also the house of psychic ability, occult, paranormal, supernatural stuff. So now that you got the lay of the 8th house land, look to the money stories last year, including banking, financing, loans, mortgages. What was going on July to October, end of October kind of vibe, November 7th? Because now you're going to deal with this energy for a long time. How long? Yeah, until 2033. But what I want to mention is Venus is protecting you. She's a financial goddess in a money house. This can also involve investments in the stock market, crypto, stuff like that. Maybe this is going to indicate you're taking off. Things are soaring. You're going to have some really nice breakthroughs in financial investments, unexpected inheritances. Some of it's legacy wealth, Pluto, 4th house. Yeah, money coming from the ancestors, family of origin, spouse, and on we go. I'm sorry. I just had to get away from that smell that's wafting into my windows. All right, Febreze or something. All right, so back to you guys. I apologize, guys. All right, so Scorpio, guys, sorry to disrupt my flow for you, but look, I want to mention one more thing. Don't think about the money as no one wants to get inheritance money because someone passed away, right? But it's part of your soul's code. You're going to have unexpected surges of riches and you don't earn the money. Okay, that's the best I can tell you. You could invest the money and the money takes off. It could be money from in-laws, money from inheritances, but you're not like making it in a paychecky way. Okay, that's the best I can say. In-laws, okay, royalty income, Google AdSense, investment monies, crypto taken off, markets, stock markets, surges of money. Up and down though, because Uranus is erratic, but you're going to get lots of Venus like baking in to protect you financially through till 2033. All that said, the sun god is shining in your house of career. This is very politician-like. Any Scorpios who want to stand up and lead, to stand in front of an audience, to command the audience, to tell everybody this, go this way. I'm telling you that I've got the answers. Lead with courage. This is good for you. This is also indicating the potential of galvanizing people of great wealth, like venture capital wealth or something, to support you and to reaching up high to be a very big leader in this world. This is also really good based on where Jupiter is sitting vis-a-vis the moon for being a leader in the publications industry, book publishing in particular. The energy here also says there's something about go to your childhood depths because Apollo's opposite Pluto. the god of the underworld, and that which is hidden in the house of childhood. Some of this extension of leader and leaderful quality is coming from childhood stories. Now, Leo's performer energy. Venus is the arts. So if you've always had an inner artist, you want to get on stage with your guitar, you want to, stand in front of people as an actor or something. This part of you wants to also emerge. So not just politically leaderful, but maybe artistically, like the celebrity on stage. Okay. So some of you could lean in that direction too over the next 6 years. One other thing about this Apollo is how, visible you are in the world. Like you're not tucked away behind the scenes. Okay. If you want to take another tact, you could be rising to the head of a company, rising up to the CEO or the corporate head. You can rise to the top of whatever corporate structure you're in, especially given Mercury is in the employment house. So your vibe here is to rise and rise and rise through work and career to new levels of our heights of leaderful, visible success. Because we have a square to the moon and south node from Venus to Uranus, there's some bigger changes coming. You're letting go, releasing, surrendering, undoing, unwinding, and flushing down the drain. A particular desire, goal, or dream that you had for your life may be connected to your work, or you're letting go, surrendering, releasing your a particular style of earning money, a particular way that you gain money from your career. Something is going out because something new is coming in. And Mercury rules employment for you. So if making money has been an employment story, that's what's letting go. The North Node is being activated, which means to become entrepreneurial. So you might be more desirous of running your own business, creating your own story, being an entrepreneur or being an artist or a creative, and getting out from underneath jobs or employment structures. Some of you may want to do it that way. And maybe being the Apollo figure is to be the boss of your own company. But you're definitely rising in stature and public attention and visible leadership for sure. And your money is going to have sudden surges, and some of it's from inheritances, but some of it's not. And it's going to be like getting rich in a punctuated equilibrium. Like you're just doing fine, nothing much is happening, and bang, like evolutionary stuff. There's a strata layer of fossils in the records. So you're punctuated. Suddenly you're flourishing with a bunch of financial growth in the next 6 years. And then you're calm and then you're flourishing again. So there's like a staccato quality to the punctuated moments of sudden surges of money for you. But you'll be able to hold on to that money and keep it as opposed to lose it according to this chart. So get ready to get richer in the next 6 years. Get ready to see yourself rise to either performer, artist, or political or head honcho in the eyes of the world. And you're going to let go of an older dream, a goal, and a way of making money that no longer serves you. And you're bending in the North Node in the house of muse, creativity, art, entrepreneurial endeavors. For every Scorpio listening, that's your direction. So get out from underneath stories that make you feel like a slave or a servitude of work. That's also coming to an end. A lot of you are going to get, AI is coming, it's going to change how we all work, but you're finding your more enthusiastic, inspired, fiery version of what you want to express in your profession. And think of yourself as a little kid standing on stage, okay? What part of you wants to be a little kid standing on stage, shining brightly with your hands in the air? Whether it's political leadership, artistic leadership, celebrity, or fame, all of those are possible in the next 6 years for many of you. If that hits the mark, Scorpio, if that makes sense to you, share with me how and why in the description box. I'd love to hear it in the comment section. I truly would love to hear from you. I'm not calling it out because I don't want to hear. I want to hear your feedback and thoughts about this. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Sagittarius. You're made of fire. And this is your story. I love this so much for you. I'm not even going to start with Uranus, but I guess I should. Okay, for the first time since 84 years ago, the permanent ingress of Uranus into your 7th house. When it's not about your marriage and business partnerships, it's about your audience and marketplace. Sun god Apollo is sextiling that from the house of Dharma. So what does Dharma mean here? It means being aligned with one's true calling, purpose, and the use of your talents and gifts in this lifetime. It's the meaning and significance of your life. Having this Apollo up here, flowing to your Sag, Sun, Moon, and Rising vibe. Don't forget, Sun is your career, Ascendant is your character in the sim. Moon is your emotions and also your home life. All of that is now coming into a kind of alignment or purposeful, meaningful alignment in the next 6 years until 2033, baking in from the ingress. If you don't understand what I mean, watch the intro while I explain what I mean by this, baking it in for 6 years. And the staple here, it's like the birth chart of this moment, is that you are somebody who wants to attract the Venusian and the Uranian into your life, because this is the house of the others in business, in love, in audience. This is the thing that you're looking at across the way. This could lead to marriages that are highly interdependent and unusual. Polyamory, marriage sabbatical, super amounts of freedom, unusual relationships of commitment in business and love. But this is also quite capable on the sky of bringing you into a bit of celebrity with a particular niche audience or marketplace where whatever you're up to becomes well known. It's really good for any Sagittarius who want to publish or write books or get some kind of international exposure, like you're known internationally for something that you're doing, okay? And it's something you're doing from a place of service. The sun says, I'm doing this thing in my work or my life because I'm being of service to the world. The moon does suggest actually a potential for some popular and public appeal for something you're doing. In the next 6 years, Mercury is in the house of the entrepreneur and the creative artist type person, the muse, right? I would suggest that a lot of you are going to move into more self-sustaining businesses and also look at your artistic creative stuff, a stellium in the house of people who write, who speak, who dance, who paint, who do music, photography, or take your pick. If any of that performing, acting, if any of that's inside of you, especially acting with Neptune here, Hollywood stuff, so to speak, you can really slide into that area and be quite well known internationally in the next 6 years. If that doesn't make any sense, just being creative and entrepreneurial will surge into an alignment with purpose. And I don't mind the moon up there in this case because the moon is ruled by Mercury and it says it could bring you quite a widespread public and popular appeal. But there's also the need to surrender and let go of one other way of being seen in the world. Now, for some of you, you could have to surrender and let go of a marriage, and that's okay. So I'd say like the death of an existing marriage is coming off of this in a shattering, sudden, and surprising way. At the same time, though, you could be letting go and releasing and surrendering a particular way that the world observed you operating in job and livelihood, because something better, more exciting, and more authentically in alignment with your purpose is going to be presenting itself. So again, we're not talking about changing your job in a company. We're talking about changing your profession. All right. Big change, not small. And, Apollo in the 9th house is in the house of God. So there could be a new orientation towards your spirituality. It's quite surprising. Like you join, a whirling dervish community and you grew up as a Southern Baptist. So you might be shining like a little light of mine, into that part of the sky where it's like your spiritual childlike wonder about believing something to be true, a spiritual path that lights you up could be coming in, and it could come in through marriage. I have to mention this. Some of you may be wedding somebody who comes from a different culture, religion, or foreign background in the next 6 years. All right. And therefore, you take on some of their stuff spiritually, the ideologies. Because the bending of the nodes is being activated, particularly the north bending, it could suggest that you're going to release and let go of a career, but also activate a move. I wouldn't put it past this to have you move to a foreign country other than the one in which you were born. Okay, so I could see that for a lot of you, Sag rising is specifically, mostly, and maybe Sag moon, a move to another country other than the one in which you were born within the next 6 years. Yet at the same time, that move could also bring you in touch with a new livelihood or a different direction professionally. And the reason for the move may also connect to work, job, and livelihood as well. I see you getting visas or passport arrangements and trying to figure out the rules of engagement in a new country. Some of you in the next 6 years, is very strong energy here. I covered other stories in the original video that I put out. Please go watch that video. I'm not going to recover all of the same narratives. We're really focused on that light of yours you want to shine in the world. And it wants to be significantly meaningful and purposeful and even humanitarian in the ninth house in what it's trying to accomplish in the next 6 years. That's where Apollo is sitting. He's a healer. He's a prophet. This is the house of oracles, like the Oracle of Delphi, the ninth house. Some of you could take up a livelihood that is somewhat oracular. You know, some of you might be feeling you have a natural gift and talent as a diviner or a scryer, telling the people the future. And strangely enough, some of you will do that. And some of you will publish books as well. And that would be exciting for you as well, because you're putting your knowledge and wisdom into the world, and you're on purpose, and you're feeling the meaningfulness of it all, right? The meaningfulness of it all. Some of you during this cycle will come into money from your family of origin that allows you some freedom to travel or to also align more deeply with your true purpose. And when I say family of origin, that can be parents and or siblings. Hello, Scorpio. Don't forget to watch the intro and the longer video that I did on this. The intro is explaining some of it. I don't need to explain twice. But your little light of mind that you want to shine, your little spark of childhood wonder, the thing you wanted to be when you grew up, the Apollo light here is in your 8th house, and which is an occult house. Why? I mean, like I talk to dead people. I'm a mystic. I do numerology, tarot, astrology. Did I say I talk to dead people? This is a very profound, also deep spiritual place of liberation from the egoic identity. And if that spark of light is here now, there was probably a part of you as a child that already knew that these things were true and possible. So conceivably, this is a major turning point in your livelihood, your service, and your work, your 6th house, that wants to emerge over the next 6 years until 2033. And because of Apollo, you could move into very occult work, healing work, being a healer, being a guide, a prophet, a seer. Those are the Apollo stories. And this kind of work would be radically different and shockingly different than any kind of livelihood you've ever done before, Capricorn. Venus is blessing this ingress of Uranus into your 6th house. One thing I could say that Apollo could do is allow for you to have greater financial success because of this new alignment. And Venus is the ruler of your visible career and reputation. And people would say, oh my God, like Uncle Joe just shifted his career from like an accountant to a dowser. What the hell just happened? You know, like people will say things about this. It's going to seem like unusual for you or, you know, whatever. But whatever this shift is, it's well appointed because it can make you rich. Venus is trining Pluto in the 2nd as she's supporting a major change of direction professionally. So it can bring great wealth and riches to you as well. So you shouldn't be afraid of going way outside the box and being a freakishly weirdo person in a new livelihood direction. Of course, a livelihood could have 8th house themes too, to do with accounting, finances, banking, mortgages, stock investing as well. Some of you could go in that direction, be a trader or something like that. That could work as well. But, you know, that would mean you're doing a lot of Uranian version of you're not like sitting in the bank behind the big desk. Like you're online, you're churning, you're trading, you're investing, you're looking at stochastics or whatever, you're looking at the head and shoulders pattern, you're analyzing it. You're going into that mode, that kind of financial churn, not really, you know, being a banker. No, nothing like that. But it can make you rich. You could do that. Funny enough, the moon is being squared along with the nodal axis at the time of the ingress in your 9th house. You might have to let go and release a spiritual ideology or belief or a path, a philosophy that you've been holding on to do with God and the matrix and the way this world works. But also with it being the moon and the ruler of your house of long-term committed love and marriage, there may be a need to release and surrender a long-term committed love story, a marriage of some sort, a relationship, especially if the person is a foreigner or from a foreign land or shore. And it's a signal that as this ingress happens, there may be a sudden surge of clarity or sudden releasing, or very fast-moving releasing of that relationship. Ultimately, this is also going to indicate that there's a potential over the next 6 years for a career that also focuses on writing, communicating, publishing, authorship. Mercury is the lord of the story of the ingress. He's in the 4th house of home with a stellium. A lot of this is going to take place at home. This doesn't look like climbing the corporate ladder. This looks like a lot of the new work orientation that you're headed for is going to be based on your home life and maybe doing things in and from the home. And those things can make you quite wealthy over the next 6 years. So as a home-based career, a home-based business, even the sun says make it more entrepreneurial. May require some travel, but it's definitely something to do with making the nest profitable and what you do professionally in the nest profitable. Mercury is kind of with Mars, and Mars here can mean expat. So, even the North Node can mean that you may move your neighborhood basically to another country. So some of you could shift countries in the next 6 years from where you currently live, or even where you were born. Ideally, with Venus Uranus here, Mercury in the 4th house, if you want a pet, somehow pets become a theme in the next 6 years. Pets become prioritized. Animals and pets become a story. Sudden surges as well of debt relief, where you're able to pay down a debt, pay off a debt, or money owed to you, money indebted, someone owes you money. Like suddenly money returns. It was always yours to have anyway. You got money back that you should have had to begin with. So it gets a kind of nice vibe there for you. And the more original, eccentric, inventive, or online and work from home you are, the more successful and prosperous you'll be. So it doesn't speak to corporate climbing at all here, just so you know. And the sun's suggesting even entrepreneurial endeavors could be much more favored for you, as the sun is trining the nodes of fate. And Mercury owns one of the nodes, right? And he's the boss of this whole story. So, thinking about creative, artistic, or entrepreneurial directions is far more lucrative for a lot of you than it would be otherwise. And then I still think that Jupiter story, South Node, Moon, Jupiter, there is some major change or letting go regarding spousal stories or committed long-term love stories. And sometimes Uranus, Venus here is dating. So you're doing some eccentric, unusual new relationships, but they don't look like they're sitting in a committed space. There's so much to say. You could get married for a green card visa under this thing, honestly. That's one of the signals of this chart, just for like a very practical reason. Okay, that's what I have for you. So let me know how that goes. And any of that resonating for you, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. I truly would. Don't forget, it's going to unfold over 6 years. You want to get back to me in a year or two, right? Or just, if it just feels like it could be possible. All right, I think I want to talk about us. We are all Cappies. We all Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I have a rising. Sun, career and purpose. Moon, home, nest, and emotions. Rising sign, the simulation avatar in the simulation. You're the lean ones. We Aquarians tend to be lean. We're called the lean one because we're ruled by Saturn. Same with Capricorns. So, in essence here, we have this experience of a major change of energy as Venus, Uranus move into the 5th house. And what they do is wake up the muse. If you have ever felt you wanted to be artistic, creative, writing, communicating, marketing, selling, pottery, painting, take your pick, performing, kaboom, get ready for the next 6 years. The inner muse and the artist in you are shockingly alive. And this is a house of childlike wonder and innocence. And the natural talents and gifts you were born with are going to be expressed. Uranus rules your pineal gland or your third eye, pineal, and it opens up your third eye. And if you have natural psychic gifts, they're going to go through the roof, over the top energy. And Venus says, I'll exalt your second house. So you can make money using oracular gifts. You can make money using artistic and creative talents that you were born to express. This is your story. If you're not an entrepreneur, you will be, because this is also the house of self-directed business. So those are stories in general for most Aquarians. Now, because Apollo, the sun god, is shining in the house of the audience, but also the house of the spouse, and Venus is in the house of romance, eccentric, unusual, new love stories emerge in the next 6 years with sun gods. What are sun gods? They could be healers or prophets or leaders, but you're going to attract sun god mates. I don't care if you're a guy looking for a girl. She's a sun goddess. So they could even be high profile or well known. Those are the kinds of mates or long-term love partners that you'll be attracting. If you're single, that's what I'm telling you. If you're not single, your partner in crime, your significant other might get more leader, power, sun god status in the world. And that's just a part of the new story for him and you, or her and you. If you're trying here to be inventive, be original, you're going in the right direction, especially when it comes to entrepreneurial and artistic creations. The muse is like, I'm not doing that old formula. We're doing it our way. And Mercury is in the house of social media, writing, teaching, communicating, marketing, and selling. So everything gets a spin about it's pioneering and it's inventive and it's original, not been done before. No cookie cutter formulas are working for you here. Situations involving a sibling 1 younger and 2 younger are very actively activated, as well as a sibling 2 older. And their role in the next 6 years are very important to you. But siblings in general are important to you in how you express your deepest meaning of dharma and purpose, because dharmic purpose is your 5th house and the talents you're born to express naturally. Whereas Venus rules the 9th house. So Venus can translate those talents to book publishing, international success, teaching, and luck. So there's a lot of luck fired up in houses 9, 5, and 1. This kind of luck with a trine from Pluto makes you quite powerfully wealthy, and good fortune befalls you, including winning money. At least one time in the next 6 years, you will win some money and you'll feel like you won the lottery, but you probably really did. So keep heart. If that's always been a dream of yours to win money, you will be winning money. And this becomes available after April the 25th. Now, the moon is in a square and the nodes are being bent. The moon is in a place in your chart that has to do with the deepest karma of the sky. And the south node is to release and surrender it. The moon can be about your mother ancestral line, and your mother's stories. Your moon can also be about the work you do in this world. And if the work you've done, if health challenges you've had, or the work you've been doing, like say it feels like slavery, drudgery, and duty instead of destiny, or say the health challenges feel weird and overwhelming, well, not only is Jupiter going to solve those problems for you, but there's a deep surrender of an ancient karma coming off the ancestral line, coming from the mother's side of the family, most likely, but to some extent with the son in the 4th, the father as well. So parental karmic structures are dissolving, releasing, and letting go to free you up to shine. Go back to being a little boy or girl. What were some of the sparks that you wanted to shine in the world? What little light of yours wanted to express itself? For example, I used to stand on the table in the living room, which is a circular, what do you call that, postmodern table, in my 60s, 70s life growing up. And I used to put my arms out, and my dad took pictures of me, and he was a terrible photographer with this Kodachrome camera. But I loved performing for my father's camera. And here I am today on YouTube, of all things. So there's an example of the spark of the performer or the artist or the creator, the little shiny light of a girl who wasn't shy yet. I got shy later on, deathly shy after the age of 6 or 7. So you're really coming back to some spark. You go back to your childhood, fellow Aquarius. Did you want to write? Did you want to paint? Did you want to draw? Did you want to sing? Did you want to perform? Go back, because no child thinks I want to be an entrepreneur, but there is that there. Maybe you always had set up the lemonade stand in your neighborhood. What impulse was already there? Because that's coming back to life now. I don't care how old you are. And it's going to make you wealthy and powerful. All right. It's going to take some work. Right? It's going to take some energy, but it will work in the next few years until 2033. Bending, right? The nodes, right? So we're bending here, the north node, to give you an increase of income and worldly success and earnings power in the next 6 years, because you are defining yourself as a creative spark using your talents and gifts, your artistic and entrepreneurial mojo, and it will bleed through to marketing, communicating, teaching, writing and selling, prophesying and divining and scrying. Certainly your third eye is going to light up like a Christmas tree, and you're going to start being much more psychic than you ever imagined possible in the next 6 years. Well, fellow Aquarians, let me know how it feels. So much to say about that, but you tell me how you're feeling about it, and we will do the Pisces next. So Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising, please watch my original longer form video. Please like and subscribe this video. Please go back to the beginning and watch the intro where I explain the baked in quality of the next 6 years from this ingress chart. The actual ingress is on the 25th, 26th time zone dependent. So I'm just trying to keep the sky lined up here for us. I can probably now safely go back a day and not lose your sign. Yay, me. So on the 25th, 26th, Uranus bakes in a story. Number one, you're going to prosper in and from your home. If you don't make money in and from your home, you will. And digital income, borderless revenue, and using the online world. This is a success story for you. If you've always made money in traditional settings and corporate jobs, forget it. Next 6 years is opening up new home-based business doors for you. At the same time, there's going to be a lot of unexpected changes of home, but Venus protects you and brings you the better home, the better home, the better home, the more beautiful home, the more friendly home, the more likable home. Home changes serve you, not disserve you, but there will be some unexpected moves. Unfortunately, some of those moves will be the square to the moon with a south node. So losses in long-term committed love relationships, divorces, widowhood, things like that will move you unexpectedly. Fractures, breakdowns, and endings in long-term love, committed love will have consequential move power for you in the next 6 years. Yet, your sunlight, your God power of Apollo, the solar energy of you, this little light that wants to shine like a leader, like a healer, maybe like a seer, is in your sixth house of livelihood and work. You're shining in your service to the world. You're shining in the work you're here to do for the collective. You're shining in the job structures of your reality. You're finding yourself moving into alignment with some kind of work that fits you like a glove. And you know, Mercury, the communicator, marketer, speaker, seller, you could use your voice to succeed. You could sell and market to succeed. Whatever it is, Mercury says it's coming through as a new direction in earnings. It's going to take time. It's going to happen slowly thanks to Saturn. Don't be impatient. But it's like locking and loading. The key fits the lock of purpose, job, career, money, making endeavors. And it is aligned with Dharma thanks to Mars. So yes, you're making money and your career is taking off and you're in a groove and it's purposeful and meaningful to you. Because you're also bending the south, north, south node axis, I will say that part of what's going to change is who you think you are, because especially Pisces rising, north node expansion of identity. And there's this kind of what you strive and grasp for is changing as well. The more you're able to sort of jackhammer the childhood and the ancestral stories, the better off you're going to be, especially your mother's stories, especially your relationship to your female mom stories, right? Your mother. There's a lot of mother karma that wants to illuminate, shatter, and release and break through. So I want you to think about your mother's stories. Dad's sideways to this story is really about mama and what you need to do. Maybe your mother's life was, not modeled well for you. Maybe the way your mother modeled her life was disappointment or something. I want you to look at mom. Was mom disappointed? Did mom fall from her power? Because you're going to look at mom in the next 6 years and you're going to fix it by you being you in a way that almost redeems mom, that makes mom's life meaningful because you came through like as a better version of your mom. Pluto says you can make wealth online, digital income, borderless revenue, distant income, work for a foreign company, or move to another country to make money in the next 6 years. And if you do move to another country, and some of you will, it doesn't have to be like, I was born in Canada and I'm moving to another country. If you like live in another country from where you were born, you could go back to that country. But there's an international border crossing possibility for you, that you're going to live in a country other than the one you are before this new story begins. April 25th, 26th, add till 2033, 6 more years left. Yes, you can go back and go July, August, September, October, what happened last year. It was a foretaste, but it wasn't the final answer, right? It wasn't the final answer. Because like I can say, okay, if you're married, your spouse could have health challenges, right, under the sky. But last year the moon wasn't there, and it could rehome you. Things to do with your spouse or lack of a spouse, or spouse quitting the relationship, or whatever else, could be a reason for a move in the next few years, and it could happen sooner than later. Venus is a ruler of your inheritance house. And there's a shock and awe. So spousal separation agreements, widowhood, insurance plans, inheritance from family of origin. Those are possibilities over the next 6 years. The money may emerge in sudden growth spurts through those kinds of money as well. But working from home and making money internationally or digitally is also equally to bring massive surges of income your way. So it doesn't have to be one, and it doesn't have to be the other. Do you want to publish books? Athena, Mars say yes. So if you're somebody in the writing, publishing story, this is a sign that this is an area of growth and success for you, as well as international marketing and selling, digital income, and borderless revenue. A sibling, one older and two older, are both those siblings can be supportive allies for your financial growth and increase in the next 2 years. And you can especially lean on a sibling one older than you, but the sibling two older than you is also quite active for the next 6 years. So if you have siblings like that, if you're estranged, you might have renewal of contact with those siblings, especially if there's an estrangement between you and the sibling one older. Not only will it heal, but that they will become an ally or a helper or a team player on your side. All right, that's what we got. Don't forget to don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I like to put outros here. I've got a client in 10 minutes, but I'm going to tell you an outro story. Synchronicity. So the other day, I went to the wine store and I wanted to get a red wine to make my spaghetti sauce. And I thought to myself, this is too expensive. This is like a $60 bottle, but it had all these great ratings. So I bought something more affordable because I wanted to have some in the sauce and I wanted to eat some myself. Drink some myself. And then my girlfriend calls me like an hour and a half later. I'm making the spaghetti sauce, and she just got back in town from a trip to Palm Springs. And she says, I'm just back. Do you want to pop over and say hi? What are you doing? And I said, making spaghetti. So I'll bring a bottle of wine. She walks in with the very wine that only 2 hours earlier I looked at on the shelf and thought I can't afford it. Or shouldn't spend that much money. You can't make this stuff up, guys. I mean, what are you going to do with that? Also, a lot of I had a dream about Donald Trump telling me that, I don't know if I told you this one, but I'll tell it to you now. I'm still worried about it. Not worried about it. That's not true. I'm not worried about anything. But I had a dream that Donald Trump told me he'd be the last presidency. Go figure. I had another dream, though, just more recently, and he showed me the New York Times obituaries. And he was showing me a code in the obituaries, like as a CIA kind of vibe, would leave a code. And the code was for his unaliving. And he said, well, they're going to take me out. So I'm going to leave that with you. If he gets suddenly ill enough not to be in office, then it was a taking out job. And my prophetic dreaming is already strong, but it's getting stronger. All right, as I go. I mean, a lot of I dreamt about the plane crash with the athletes on it, the figure skaters. I was on the plane with a sports team, I said, and the plane went down, dropped like a rock, which that plane did. And I had another dream that a plane crashed with its nose down like this. Like somehow the nose was turned completely down. That was the plane that crashed was it LaGuardia? Anyway, hit a fire truck. And in the dream, I thought I was worried about fire. I was watching the plane from like a height, like a control tower. And the fire truck was what was hit. So for those of you who criticize me and saying, it's not very psychic, everybody knew this or that, I do get some of it right. Okay. So there you go. So I'm going to say it would surprise me if Trump isn't suddenly no longer available or well enough to be in office. I'm recording this on April 20th. I'm going to keep that prediction there. I would say by mid-May, I don't think he's in office. Okay. I don't know what's going to do it. I don't have any idea, but he told me in the dream it was a takeout, situation, unaliving or illness. I don't know if he's is in illness or an unaliving. Okay. I'm going to go back to work. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Ciao, guys. Astrology is a map, but it's not a map of place, it's a map of time. What I love about teaching astrology and having people use this time map is that it helps them navigate their life. You wouldn't get out of your house and go ahead and start traveling without a literal map or a GPS unit, especially if you don't know the terrain. Well, astrology is the map, it is the terrain of time. And in our course, the Divine Timing Masterclass, we're going to be learning about 5 very powerful precision tools in astrology to time your best life. But here is the thing. This is a course that takes ancient timing tools and Time Lord tools, and yes, helps you navigate reality with greater ease and flow and even luck because you know how to work with it. But it is not the only part that astrology offers you. It's not only a prediction map of time. Once you start going down the astrology rabbit hole, you, like me, begin to wonder about fate and free will, like who's in charge here? Because you're going to see the arc of destiny, and you're going to notice if you use these timing tools, not only how to look forward, but how to look backwards. And one of the most surprising parts of this is that when we turn around and look backwards using astrology, we see pattern recognition and cycle repetition. And that is useful. Number one, it gives a sense of destiny and meaning to our lives where we understand no choices we made were right or wrong. They weren't mistakes. The choices and actions we took were a part of a greater plan. The second thing I love about pattern recognition and cycle repetition, because it's pretty reliable, you can use it to time your best life because you can say, okay, I've done this one before. I've been through this set of eclipses every 18 and a half years. I know how they operate in my chart. And well, it's never the exact same story in exactly the same way. The archetypes underneath the story are the same. Venus, Pluto archetypes, the love of power and the power of love, right? So like it's one energy playing out in different ways in our lives. And, you know, I mean, we can get like a jealousy and a betrayal story with Pluto, but we can also get the depth of love, true love, transformative love, and regenerative love. So how these stories play out depends on how you receive them and how you choose to interact with them. So in my Divine Timing Masterclass, I've chosen 5 tools that I think I can teach intermediate to advanced beginner students. And I have taught this class before in 2022 and 2021, but not all of these tools. I taught 4 of these tools, I believe. So in our class, if you want to join me in the Divine Timing Masterclass for 5 consecutive weekends in the month of May on Saturdays, I'd love to have you there. There's a little checklist on my website that's going to ask you whether or not you think you're ready for this class, because you don't want to take this class if you've never before learned the meaning of the planets, the meanings of the houses, how to recognize the astrology glyphs. If you don't know the rudimentary language of astrology, this course will not be for you. This is for those advanced beginners and intermediate students. And by the way, if you want to learn the basics, come to my Sky Reader course. Every September we begin, and this year's course will be at least 7 weeks rather than a traditional 6, to allow for a slower learning curve for some of you who find the pace a little fast. But I am teaching you a new language. All right, when you start off as a beginner, and no one learns Italian or Greek overnight. My name is Lori Lothian, by the way, and I am Lunatic Astrology, and we are learning together. I'm going to show you the website that I put up that shows you the basic layout of the land of this course that's coming up. It's going to be modular. There are 5 weekends, there are 5 courses, there are weekly Q&As that are attached to each module, which I go into a coaching mode or in a help mode to help you if you're confused on the tool or to guide you further. So you're getting the class with me, which will go at least most times 90 minutes minimum to 2 hours sometimes. And then you're going to get the actual follow-up for that module in a midweek Q&A with a replay for all of it. And you get to keep the course forever. It's evergreen. Once you take it with me, it's yours. You don't, it's like, it's saved for you on my teaching platform, and you can go back and learn it anytime. So I want to just say the 5 tools are modular because some of you may already know these tools and you're like, oh, I have to sign up for a 5-week course, but I already know 2 of the 5 tools really well, and I don't really think I need to learn it. I get that. So I decided to make it modular, but with an incentive for you to level it up and take that course the whole package, because there's consistency of community. I have a Facebook group for you guys to meet in and chat. You can start your own WhatsApp groups if you want to really connect with each other. And there's also consistency of the content building on each other. But yes, you can do it in a standalone mode. So I'm just going to show you the website just to show you, it's not the final version. The enrollment cart won't open to the public until later on, I think about April the 10th. And if you're on the early bird discount, that's a different story. That was a sign up option. Let's show you the actual picture of this website that I mocked up for, getting the basics down. So I'm on my Lunatic Astrology website. Divine Timing Masterclass, enrollment doors open, April, and the date is coming. And a 5-week deep dive into ancient predictive timing tools. So you're going to get a weekly live Q&A call with me that you can come to, and you're going to get a private Facebook group. And I may put a Discord group up there as well. I'm not good at running them, but I have a fellow colleague who will maybe do that for me. And all the content is available for replay. And we start May the 2nd. And so here's what I want to say. Remember, the checklist I'm going to be giving you. I thought I wrote it in here, the FAQ, but it is like, if you don't know how to recognize a planetary glyph yet, you don't know the meanings of the 12 houses, you don't know rulerships, Venus rules, 2 signs, Libra and Taurus, and she's exalted in the sign of Pisces, then you're probably not ready for this class at all. And here are the actual module. So, planetary decades, and it's about your unique timing. It's a very cool tool. And I learned this years ago from Austin Kopek, and I use it in my own life just as a guidepost, but it's unique to your own natal chart and in the order of the planets in your chart in zodiacal order. So it's a really simple, but fun, but accurate timing tool for your life. The next one is Sphedaria, which is a very powerful time map. It's a little bit like Sphedaria, the Dasha system in India, where you have a Mahadasha and an Antardasha, meaning that Vedic astrology tool gives you certain years and windows of time, certain ages, and when there's one planetary power ruler over you. Like I just finished a long run through my moon Mahadasha, and now I'm in my Mars Mahadasha in the Vedic system. This is Sphedaria. It's a similar idea. It's an ancient Hellenistic timing tool. It's extremely enlightening, and it depends on whether you're born in the day and the night. And then we have solar arc times. I call it God's clock. This is my favorite tool. I've been using it for years, and I can't wait to teach that to you because I've got some insider hacks from a lot of experience over 7 years and thousands of clients about the best way to use God's clock. And you also have zodiacal releasing, karmic turning points using a lot of eros, a lot of love, and a lot of fortune. And this is a very powerful Hellenistic tool, and it definitely works. I've taught a class on it already, but I'm putting my guest teacher expert, Kaylee Michelle, in here. She taught this as an extra advanced module in my last Sky Reader, and she was really loved, and she's really good at giving you worksheets to do this and really learn it. And so I am so happy to have her sharing her wisdom for the 3rd week's class, my guest teacher, Kaylee. And then distributions through the bounds. These are your life's chapters. They're extremely, very useful. I remember Kamala Harris was out of the running for the Democratic Party. She dropped out of the race to be nominated at the convention, and everyone was tossing her out the door. And I looked at her zodiacal releasing back in the first election with Joe Biden back then, not the second election, the Joe Biden one where she became vice president. And I said, oh my God, no, she's going to be okay. And no one understood why, because I'm like, she's going to go to power here. How could she go to power when she got knocked out of the race for the presidency and Joe Biden took over the lead? Well, she became his vice president pick. So this kind of thing works. I did it with I have a fellow astrologer who was having a reading for me back then when I was first learning this tool from Ben Dykes back in the pandemic era. And I said, you're going to write like lots of books in this window of time. Now she's written 3 or 4 astrology books, and it was all in using the distributions through the bounds tool, which I'll be teaching. And lastly, we have bonus courses for self-study. So this is if you are literally going to take the whole bundle and you want to be there for all classes, or just have them at your disposal for future reference. I love that I'm going to give you the annual advanced perfection tool video from a class I've already taught live, my solar return masterclass, and my natal progressed lunations course as well. Those are replays of 2-hour courses I've taught before with supporting documentation and slides. It's about a value of $99, $33 each. You get that because you want to sign up for the bundle. So I'm trying to incentivize people to sign up for all of the videos. All the information you're going to need in order to sign up for my class and to get enrolled for that class, and enrollment carts will open to the general public around the 9th of April. I'm using an auspicious election for that, for the early bird discount people who got on the wait list for that class, and there's a few hundred of you. I will be sending you the email. If you're listening to this video and you're not on the early bird discount wait list, then you can find the link to that wait list in this video, underneath this video. Otherwise, if you're catching this later after the April 10th, 9th, 10th, then the information to enroll and the link to enroll is under this video. So I'm excited. To me, astrology is the tool that I use, like I breathe, you know what I mean? I shower, I brush my teeth because I live and breathe it. But it's also a way to connect to the divine wisdom that's operating through my life. Because I can say, oh, no wonder I hit a wall last week, Sun, Saturn conjunct in Aries, and I'm an Aries sun, and I hit a wall. And I can understand that wall, this too shall pass, right? That wall has a lesson for me and then it's over. I can anticipate things. I can work with them and not resist them. And then I can extract the deeper lessons of what I am experiencing because it's happening for a reason. So astrology to me is like how to know the mind of God. And that's one of the reasons I think I call this a divine timing masterclass, because we're looking at understanding the will of the divine in each of our lives by looking at the map of time in each of our lives. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's something that you can groove with, and we'll be getting that course going. And I'm excited in May to be teaching that to you. I'm moving in May, but I'm also teaching a class. That is what happens when you're in Aries with a Saturn Aquarius rising story going on, Saturn on the ascendant. You buck through anything, even a move in May, and I'll be sharing this class with you guys. I'm looking forward to it, actually. So come aboard. If you're not sure you're ready for the class, remember the checklist will be there for you. I think it was on the page. I didn't show it to you. Then no worries. You can always reach out to me by email. All my contact information is under all of my YouTube videos and stuff, and ask me to be more specific with your circumstance. The biggest risk you have is taking a class in astrology that is over your head. Then you continue to study astrology over the years and it's no longer over your head. And then you can use that class, you can go back and learn it. And I've had that happen to me where I've signed up when I was learning astrology for a course. It was too sophisticated for me. And then I went back later and I figured out, oh my God, now I understand what the teacher's teaching. So that's the worst case scenario is you jump on in and you're not quite ready. But hey, guys, you got to know the basics. So if you don't know the basics, it's not the class for you. I'll see you guys in the Divine Timing Masterclass in May 2026. I'm so looking forward to having you there and playing in the sandbox of divination together.
Lunatic astrology.